back to the city that never sleeps. We've got a massive session ahead. 510 buying in for $2,000. That's all I gotta say. Pocket pairs galore, baby. Let's get this show on the road. All right, get ready for another crazy vlog. Last week you guys saw how much action is on this table. Real quick, before the first hand, I just wanted to say if you guys are new here, my name is Ace Poker. I'm 23 from New Jersey. I would appreciate if you guys could subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment. It helps so much to help me follow this dream and make all these videos. If you hit that little bell, you get notified every week when I drop these bangers. Let's get right into today's hands. We've got some crazy ones. For the first hand, we look down at ace 10 of hearts. Under the gun opens to 30. We decide to 3-bet to 110. Looking back, probably shouldn't use this hand to 3-bet under the gun. Should probably have just our stronger hands 3-betting under the gun. But hey, what do I know? You know, I never really make the right play. I guess that's why you guys watch the vlogs. And under the gun makes the call. So we're going heads up to a board of queen 3-6. Definitely don't like starting out the day completely whiffing the board, but when he checks to me, I decide to take a stab, bet $80, and he folds. Nice. Love taking down the first pot of the day. Gives me great momentum, and I feel like I always have a great attitude going into the rest of the session. So let's head to the next hand. Ugh, get this hand off the screen before it burns my eyes any longer. Hate this damn hand, but hey, we actually raise it to $30. We get two callers. We check flop, check turn, check river, and ace high is good. It's the only way I can win with this damn hand. Then I do something I've never done in all of poker. We go to a double board bomb pot. I look at my hand and I'm having a conversation with someone, quickly look at the board, toss out $175 because I thought I flopped a straight, but I didn't. So that sucks. Threw $175 out the window. And now let's get into our next actual hand. All right. This hand shows the epitome of action at this game. We look down at ace 10 offsuit. We open it up to $30. Just the big blind makes the call. So we're going heads up to a board of queen 8-9. We've got nothing but a gutter. He checks it to me. I decide to c-bet here for 35. And he snaps me off, which is interesting. Going to a turn, which is a king, doesn't improve us at all. He checks again. This card's just going to be much better for me. He shouldn't have any strong hands in the big blinds, so it should be pretty easy to barrel here, take it down, or if I bet here and he calls, just bet big on the river and he'll fold. So I bet out for $80, and unfortunately, my opponent is sticking in. He doesn't believe me. He puts in the call. Going to a river, which is a 4. We don't improve. We don't get there in any way. He checks it over for a third time. Not going to stray away from the plan. I bet big. I make it $350. And right away, my opponent sighs. So I'm like, oh my God, I just put him in a gross spot. Hopefully he just finds the fold and doesn't decide to hero call down. He thinks for about a minute and I decide to intervene with some speech play.
It's good. It's a good call. It's good. He lied to me.
What card did he flip over? A 4. Is he a effing psycho? He's debating calling me down with bottom pair. What does he even have as a kicker with his 4? What was he calling me down with ace 4 high? What the heck? If he makes this call and just completely reads my soul, I don't even know what to say. After the longest time, he puts in the call.
Good call.
Oh, you made the vlog! You made the vlog! 10? You called us a 10 kicker? Queen 10. What's wrong with you?
You can't even be mad when someone hero calls you with bottom pair because they're going to be wrong over 90% of the time. Just have to laugh it off, say nice call. He did in fact make the vlog. Nice hand, man. On to the next one. Now it all sets up perfectly for this hand. We have pocket 8s. We open it up to $40 and we get 1, 2, 3, 4 callers, so we're going 5 ways to a flop of 8, 4, 4. Are you kidding me? After it looks like we might be tilted, we might be steaming, this is the perfect setup, baby. Come on, let's get paid. It checks to me, and I would almost never c-bet here, only if I had like aces or kings. So let's disguise the strength of our hand. I decide to check, and the button bails us out, bets for $60. Unfortunately, he's been playing pretty tight, so everyone else folds, but the good news is that means he probably has a really good hand, so I just put in the call. Let's head to the turn. The turn is a 5. He's on the button. Hopefully he has something like 4-5 suited, and we can get paid. I check it to him once again. And he does not disappoint. He bets out for $115. I just make the call again. Going to the river, it's a deuce, a really good card. If an ace or a king came, might have scared him into thinking I've got aces or kings. So I check for a third time on the river, praying that he bets. And he does. He goes massive. He bets out for $400. There's only one move to make. If he's bluffing, he's going to snap fold, but we've got to go all in. I jam $1,100, and I don't even have time to think. My opponent snap calls it off. I show him the bad news, and he shows pocket fives. Oh my goodness. The ultimate cooler. Thank God it went in our direction. I felt so bad because, as you guys have seen on my Instagram, I've been posting, if people, some of my followers want to come to the game, they're more than welcome. And my boy Rami hit me up today to come. This was his first time at the game, and I coolered him. I feel awful. He also makes poker content, so I feel like it's only right to give him a shout out. Please, everyone, drop him a follow on Instagram. Support my boy Rami. That's the least we can do. I feel so bad, but oh my goodness. I don't know the last time I got boat over boat. I don't know if I've ever gotten boat over boat on the channel. Only took 85 vlogs, high stakes. Let's get it. We're now back from that bluff. We're back above even. We're up around $600 or $700 now. Let's go, baby. Let's keep running it up. All right, don't go anywhere because the action does not stop. We look down at pocket queens. The $25 straddle is on. We are next to act. We open it up to 75. We get 2 callers, and it's back to the straddle, and I'm like, oh, he's going to complete. We're going to go 4 ways. Going to be tough, but he pulls a trick out of nowhere. He raises it up to $475, a massive raise. He could just be trying to steal this with something like ace-jack suited, ace-queen suited, although we block the queen, so could be ace-king suited. Could even have just any ace suited, like ace 2, 3, 4, 5 suited, trying to steal it. So I do debate re-raising, but I just think it looks awfully too strong, and although it would be really nice to just take down over $600 pre-flop, we want more. We've got to play correct poker. I decided to just make the call. Sure, it could bring in some other players, but I just don't think the other 2 callers are going to have strong enough ranges to call this $475. And that's exactly what happened. So we're going heads up to a board of 6 deuce deuce with 2 spades. It does not get drier than this. Definitely not good if he did decide to go crazy with ace deuce suited. Also a really, really good board if he has something like ace 3 of spades, ace 4 of spades, ace 5 of spades. And my opponent thinks for the longest time and decides to check. The thought creeps in my mind. I know every poker player can relate. Does he have aces? Does he have kings? Am I just destined to lose all my money? Because if we're talking true ranges and not, squeezing, although this opponent is capable, so you have to include all those ranges, a true massive 3-bet range would be just ace king suited, ace queen suited, aces, kings, queens, jacks, maybe pocket 10s. So again, it's a couple hands that have us crushed. If he has ace king of spades, we're flipping, and 2, maybe 1 hand that we are crushing. So when he checks, I think a large part of my range wants to check back here, so I probably should check back, but I decided to just bet $350. I'm very curious on the actual correct play here, the solver play, the GTO play, although I never ever go with GTO. Just curious what you guys should be doing here. I think just checking back is probably the right play, but again, can just show you guys what I did. And my opponent goes deep into the tank, and I know he's thinking about jamming. I know maybe he's thinking, what kind of hands do I have? If he jams over the top with one of those like ace 3, ace 4, ace 5 suited without spades, is he going to be able to get me to fold? Maybe he has ace king 1 spade and wants to just put it in. And after the longest time, the decision that he comes to is an all in. It's gross, but we've got ourselves here. We cannot fold. I make the call. My opponent does not show his card, says how many times you want to go. I say, I guess twice is fine. First board, 9 of clubs. He could have pocket 9s. Then it's the jack of clubs, and he says, I've got that board locked up. And I'm like, what? And he shows pocket jacks. Are you kidding me? The jack on the first run out. Oh my God, we were primed for a massive double up. He has 2 outs. Now we've got to fade the last jack in the deck to just get 50% of a pot that we should be getting 100% of. Thankfully, it does not come, but oh my goodness, we're up about $1,000. I have about 3,000 in my stack, and he covers me. We could have been up over $4,000 to start this session. What the heck? I guess I was about to say, I guess I can't complain, but now I'm fucking complaining. Fuck this. Where are the poker gods? What the heck is this? Oh my god, I know you guys feel the pain. On to the next hand. Alright, now we've got a hand for all the bomb pot lovers, including myself, so I always like to put them in. We get an amazing board on both boards. We have the nut flush draw on one board, and we've got trips on the other board, no full house yet, so we decide to check, action checks around, and we turn the nut flush on the bottom, still no full house on the other board, but really good hands on both boards. Yes, we're playing with 5 cards, but still hard to have really good hands on both boards. A little funny thing goes on. I bet 110, and the guy to my left goes, I'll call 100, and I go, all right, let's make it 100. Just a fun game. So he makes the call, and then the next player raises to $500. With this really good hand, still can improve to a boat on the other board. We could massively cooler him if he just has a smaller boat with the jack right now. So I make the call and the other player folds. And we get some pretty interesting rivers. We do not make a full house, but we do make the queen high flush. And when we've got a jack, you know, there's a bunch of 4s on the other board. There's really not too many full house combinations he can have on that board. And if he does have a full house on that board, it's unlikely he's got one on the other board. So worst case scenario, we should be at least winning one of these boards with a slight chance that we could somehow win both. So I decide to check, and now my opponent does something I did not want to hear. He says that one word, pot. How much is that? $1,300. Ugh. We're in profit today. Do I really want to throw it all away on a bomb pot? On the other hand, we've already invested around $550 into this pot. If I fold now, obviously that's gone. If I call and we're winning at least one of these boards, we're going to get that back. We would actually win a little bit because that guy put in 100, everyone put in 50. So I think for a long time, I say it's gross if I'm beat on both boards.
This is gross if I'm beat on both boards. I call.
Quads, straight catfish.
Oh, yes. Good job.
You were quads, you're like, oh god.
Flat.
And I say, thank God we're chopping. My opponent flopped quads. Makes sense now that he checked. Pretty interesting little bomb pot. On to the next hold'em hand. Then I get into one of the most interesting hands I've played in a while with pocket kings against the same player who got lucky with the jack versus my queens. So let's try to get some of that money back. I'm in the big blind. The next player limps, which nobody ever really does. Folds to the small blind, who makes it 50. I make it 175. I like this sizing. We're short-handed, so just less of a chance that he's got a really strong hand. Want to keep everything in. He makes the call. So we're going heads up to a board of 3, 4, 9 with 2 diamonds. He checks it over to me. I want to bet small here with basically all my hands. If I had ace king, ace queen, I would bet all small as well. So I make it $150 and he makes the call pretty quickly. So we're going heads up to a turn, which is a 5. He checks it over to me, and I think this is a super interesting decision point in the hand because I would probably give up with all those ace king and ace queen hands, as this board's just much better for him. Yes, we're in both of the blinds, but he's just generally going to have a much wider range than I am. So although we've got a super strong hand, like I said, a lot of my hands are going to check here, as well as checking is going to look like I'm just completely giving up. As like I said, it'll look super weak, and it opens the door to a capable player who definitely can bluff, so I like the check a lot here. So we're going heads up to a river, which is a 10, a beautiful little run out here. I'm slightly expecting and somewhat hoping him to just bet massive here on the river. We can just snap call. Hopefully it's a bluff and he does not have us beat. And that's exactly what happens. He cuts out and he bets $600 of massive sizing. Nothing too dilly-dally about. I snap call. He shows ace 10, so he actually rivered top pair, but that is not good enough. We show the kings and we take down an actual pretty massive pot here. Keep heading in the right direction. Let's head to the next hand. All right, pocket kings seem to be working for us, so why don't we look down at them again, getting all the premiums today. There's a $25 straddle on. I make it 75. The big blind and the straddle make the call. So we're going 3 ways to a board of 7, 9, 4 with 2 clubs. Really good board. So as poker normally goes, they'll check it over to me. I'll have to just pick a size that I want to bet, but sometimes there's a wrench in your plans. The big blind checks, and now the straddle just leads here for $90. I'm not quite sure what a lead looks like. Maybe he flopped top pair, maybe he flopped middling pair, maybe he's got a massive draw and just kind of wants to stun me in my tracks. I don't really think raising is the right play. I think that's not only sort of an overplay, but also, I mean, just let my opponent bet. If he wants to bet, we'll just call down. That could be a flawed way of thinking. Funny enough, I'm actually deciding to get some coaching. For the first time in my entire career, I've played poker up until this point without coaching at all. I recently hired a coach. Very curious to see what he thinks about this play. Maybe after I finish this voiceover, I'll text him this hand and see what he thinks, but I decide to just make the call. The big blind folds. Going to a turn, which is the 5 of spades, and now my opponent decides to check. I'm wondering what I should do here. What's the right play? In game, I decided to check. I think that's wrong. I think you should be betting, but again, curious to see what you guys have to say and what my coach has to say. And we're just headed to a river, which is awesome. The deuce of spades. He checks for a third time. Now it's very clear. If I didn't go for value on the turn, gotta go for value now. I think betting big makes the most sense. I mean, I don't know. I decided to bet on the smaller side, $120. And I guess it's the right price because my opponent thinks for a long time, debates on calling, and eventually flicks in the chips. I showed the kings, and he later told me he had a 7, so I guess good lead because it did kind of stun me in my tracks. Again, just curious what the right play is here, what you guys think. Here's just some quick thoughts from the coach if you guys want to pause that to read it, but on to the next one we go. So yeah, just finishing up the editing right now. We played for about 5 hours, shorthanded, so game was a little bit shorter today, but we wound up winning $1,800. Got so many pocket pairs, got into so many interesting hands. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Drop a like if you haven't, and I'll catch you guys next week. Have a great week as always, and peace out.